Hi, and welcome to the show. We're your Paragon hosts for the evening. I'm Liz Krause, and to my right is Robert Miller.
Glad you could join us tonight. You know, Liz, it's finally starting to feel like spring around here. The people are bike riding and roller skating.
And while all that's going on, the Husky athletes are giving it their all in spring training. We'll see the football and girls softball teams in action later on.
We're also going to visit a place on campus where you can find a treasure of artifacts and relics, some from prehistoric man. But to start you off tonight, let's break out the Crayolas, gather around the kids, and see what happens.
Some people think children's art belongs only on the refrigerator. Well, the people at Crayola Crayons have a different opinion.
Student art exhibits are a common occurrence at Gallery 200 of NIU's Visual Arts Building. But when a display features works by artists half the age of the average college student, it proves to be quite unique. The Crayola Dreammakers is an exhibit of 100 pieces of award-winning artwork by children from throughout the Midwest. Dr. Carmen Armstrong explained the role that she and her students played in the Dreammakers exhibit.
My students served as teachers of those elementary classroom teachers or art teachers to explain the projects that they did related to the Dreammakers theme and involve them in actually doing the project. The 6 weeks of classes took a different Dreammakers theme, one of the Dreammakers themes that you see around you in the exhibit here.
NIU shared the distinguished honor of being one of only 5 schools which were chosen to display the children's works. Professor Jack Olson explained how the works were chosen for the exhibit.
There were some 300 entries, and we were to select about 100 examples from those 300 submissions. I was looking for work that was honest and unpretentious. And I think when you're looking at work coming from different age levels, at least I don't look for the age level, I look for the honesty of approach.
Dr. Carolyn Ulrich expressed her pride in the exhibit.
Yes, this is the first time that Northern Illinois University is exhibiting the Dreammakers program. There were 5 universities in the United States that were selected to host and to exhibit the Dreammakers program that we see here today. Northern Illinois University is very honored to be one of 5 teacher preparation universities in the country. I hope that the efforts, the fine contribution that has been made in teacher preparation, in the field of art, in the field of imagination will continue.
The works of these talented youngsters might someday be a part of an NIU student's earliest achievements.
Boy, that brings back the memories of the old coloring books, doesn't it?
It sure does, Liz.
I remember my favorite one was Beatty and Cecil, an old cartoon, though I don't remember being as good an artist as the ones we just saw.
No, those children were really exceptional. Don't go away, because we've got some of the fine arts coming your way after a look at some places of interest, along with their dates.
The very little.
This is what it's like to be functionally illiterate. There are 27 million Americans like this who need your help. Volunteer at this number. The only degree you need is a degree of caring.
I think I can.
I was totally out of control, and I didn't even realize it. That's what's crazy about cocaine. And all along, I lied to myself because I was ashamed. Anyone who tells you cocaine's not addictive, they lie. One night, my heart freaked out. I thought I was going to die. I risked my health, jail, and the people who love me. I knew I had to stop.
Call 1-800-662-HELP.
Coming up next, we've got a taste of art that's a little different in style.
The works of art you're about to get a sneak preview of can be seen at the Swen Parson Art Gallery.
Located in the main gallery of Swen Parson Hall are new pieces of art which have been permanently donated to the NIU School of Art. The donated works range from African artifacts to contemporary prints. Most of the donations come from people who want to see NIU's art school enriched with items from their personal collections. The director of the gallery is Michael Flanagan.
You seek out gifts of art to a certain degree, but some donors look for us in a way. We've got a good-sized collection. We're an educational institution. We're willing to take on gifts.
The largest donation this year came from the Lipschultz family, regular donators to the NIU Art School. This year's group of works includes a variety of African artifacts, wood carvings, and 700 modern prints, including a collection from the 1984 Summer Olympic Games.
There are 3 carved ebony wood heads on the left, and then the more historic, tall carved figure on the right with the lizard or crocodile on the chest. There's also a piece of printed cloth there in the foreground, and there's an Ashanti gold weight, that X-shaped piece that's just below the carved head, that was used as a counterbalance on scales when they were weighing things out. The tall piece, the multi-headed piece with the necklace of seashells is an older piece, a more historical piece. And up above that piece is a rug made out of sewn pieces of zebra skin.
These new prints also will be displayed at different locations on campus throughout the school year and during the summer. The NIU Art Department expects more donations in the future and invites you to stop by the Swen Parson Gallery and enjoy these new works of art. If you're interested in the arts and crafts of ancient cultures, there's one place on campus that has an almost complete collection of tools, ceremonial clothes, and ritual paintings.
That place is the Anthropology Museum. The people there have just added a touch of realism to their display, a cave you can actually walk through and explore.
On the outside, the Stevens Building looks like an ordinary building, but on the inside, it's unique. The Stevens Building is the home of the Northern Illinois Museum of Anthropology. Anthropology focuses on behavioral and physical differences among cultures. An understanding of people's varied ways of life is necessary to answer questions regarding what they are like now and what they will become in the future. The curator of the museum is Dr. Milton Deemer, who's been an anthropology professor at Northern for the past 7 years.
Past 10 years, we've tried to upgrade the museum, make it a little more professional, a little higher quality.
The museum has many rooms filled with displays, including a wide assortment of weapons, such as spears, shields, and tomahawks, which early man used for hunting and protection.
There are several thousand islands, and different groups used different types of weapons.
Another exhibit is the beautiful clothing once worn by Indian tribes. These attractive outfits, primarily made of elk hide, are heavily decorated with beading and animal bones. But the main attraction of the museum is its mock cave, which was just completed, and includes examples of cave art used by prehistoric man to communicate before the development of written language.
It's representative of European caves from that were used by people roughly 10,000 to 30,000 years ago as places where they painted painted pictures or designs all throughout.
So the next time you walk past the Stevens Building, stop by the Anthropology Museum and see how man used to live and communicate before the dawn of recorded history.
That's what anthropology is. It's a lot of questions and not all that many answers.
I'd like to point out that the museum tour is absolutely free. Plus, it's a nice leisurely place to go if you've got some free time in between class.
All of the other art displays we've been mentioning are free, and that also includes trials at the law school.
Recently, the law building on campus held a very dramatic activity. In one of the courtrooms at Swen Parson Hall, a pretend trial was staged.
The trial was a mock rape trial. Although our cameras weren't allowed into the courtroom, Liz was there to get reactions to the trial and to find out how it tied in with Sexual Assault Awareness Week.
Sexual assault is a crime that can happen to any woman, any time. Over 80,000 cases of sexual assault are reported each year. Recently, in Swen Parson Hall's moot courtroom, one aspect of rape was examined. We're here at Swen Parson Hall where a mock rape trial is in session. The mock rape trial is part of Sexual Assault Awareness Week. In a few moments, the trial will be over and these doors behind me will open. Paragon will then get to talk to some of the participants and the spectators of the trial to find out what this is all about. Have you learned anything from attending the trial?
I guess I just learned how much they pay attention to detail. And when you're actually in a situation like that, you wouldn't really pay attention to every little thing. But then if you say one thing and then later they ask you it and you say it a little bit different, then they act like you're lying when you're actually just confused.
Do you have a reaction about the topic, the sexual assault? Have your opinions changed about sexual assault at all?
Well, the thing I think they were trying to establish tonight was that previous relations can't come into play when it comes to a sexual assault.
We talked to Kathy Guimond, co-chair of the Sexual Assault Task Force, which organized the event. We asked Guimond why this trial was held.
To try to bring about an awareness on campus of what sexual assault is and to, dispose of the myths surrounding it. There's a lot of myths surrounding sexual assault, and we wanted to show more of what the reality is.
Guimond explained how people could be more aware of sexual assault.
I would encourage anyone that has any concerns or any ideas with respect to sexual assault on this campus. We have a number of things that we're doing. We have procedures in effect where a victim can obtain help, both area of counseling, medical, legal, and judicial, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Procedures are in effect. Get a hold of somebody on the task force. Virtually any student organization is represented on the task force.
The result of the trial was a hung jury. The audience was asked for its verdict. It was evenly split between guilty and not guilty. The purpose of the mock rape trial was to make us more aware of what happens in a rape trial. It is hoped that no one will ever have to suffer through a real one. From what I gathered when I was there, a lot of spectators found out how delicate the matter of sexual assault really is. It was a pretty worthwhile event.
One that people won't forget for a long time.
Right.
Well, now it's time to get into the old sporting events. Spring training is here, and for NIU's softball team, that means buckling down and psyching up.
Spring is finally here, and the softball season has followed right along after it. The NIU women's softball team is getting ready for a tough but exciting season, as Coach Dee Abramson explains.
We've been able to be independent in terms of our scheduling. We play almost everybody in the state, Division I softball schools. We play most of the Big 8, most of the Big 10. A lot of the MAC we're still playing. So, we've been able to spread our dollars around and still be playing the people that we want to play, which is exciting.
With the team starting in 8th position for preseason, the coach has some specific goals to reach for this year.
Starting out at 8th is something that I'm really pleased with, and I think we can work our way up to top 4 in the region, which is it's kind of a lofty goal, but I think it's something that we can do and start putting Northern's program on the map a little bit more now that we're competing with different people.
But these goals can only come after strict training. Star player Jill Justin explains what she goes through to get ready for a season.
As soon as our fall season's over, we start our winter conditioning, and we practice every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and we do a lot of running, a lot of distance running, and we lift, and we bat on Tuesdays and Thursdays, which is good. Then get our month off, and we still have to stay in condition because you can't come back. If you come back, you can tell that you've had the month off and be in trouble. So it's kind of all year round. You know, you got to keep in shape, and when you come back, you got boom, 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 and time for the season already.
So as the weather gets a little bit hotter, there will be some women at NIU who will be batting a little bit harder and pitching a little bit faster. And they look pretty psyched up too, don't they? But it's not only the girls who are out there getting set for the season, the guys' teams are too. And NIU's football team is no exception. After a brief winter break, the NIU football team is back in action. With the arrival of spring has come spring practice, and both the players and the coaches are raring to go. Head coach Jerry Pettibone has many goals in mind for the next several weeks.
We're going to work real hard to instill the offensive and defensive philosophy that we have on our team. So the ability for us to be able to go out this spring and start ahead because of the learning that we've had in the past, I think is going to be a real plus for us. And then hopefully at the end of the spring, with a lot of experiments, moving players around, and with the amount of scrimmaging we'll do and the evaluation on film, then we'll have our players lined up in the right spot so we can come back in the fall and be ready to start playing games.
After running up against many formidable opponents last season, Coach Pettibone feels the upcoming schedule will be better for the team.
We're not going to have to line up against the West Virginias, the Miami of Floridas, Iowa, or Wisconsin. Last year we played the 14th most difficult schedule in the NCAA, and we weren't ready for that. I understand why we had to do it, we just weren't ready for it in the development of our program. This year is the type of schedule that we're ready for, and I'm confident that we'll be able to handle it.
Although the players haven't been practicing long, they were hitting as if it was the opening game. Students can get a sneak preview of the Huskies at the upcoming red-white game.
The conclusion of spring practice will be Thursday night, April the 23rd at 6:30 here in Husky Stadium. It's going to be an annual red-white game, and I'm sure it'll be exciting, and it will certainly be an encouragement to our players to see as many of the students here as possible. And of course, the gates will be open, it will be free, and so you won't have to pay anything to get in.
You know, Liz, sports fans usually hate to see the sporting year end a lot more than they hate to see the academic year end, but this year I think it's about even.
Well, better luck next year. When we come back, we'll discover the Northern Dance Company, a visit from our movie critic, and are NIU students over the edge when it comes to watching TV? We'll find out, so stay tuned.
Hello, and welcome to our special guest, McGruff the Crime Dog.
Thanks, Dick.
Now, do I understand that neighborhood watch programs have reduced crime in some areas as much as 50%?
That's right, but there's more to be done. Start a volunteer escort service for older folks.
Aha, good news for the old folks at home, eh? What about the young folks?
Start McGruff houses.
Which are?
Houses kids can duck into in case of trouble.
For more information, write to this address and help
help take a fight out of crime.
our families are moving closer and closer to our forests. That's why, if you're careless with fire when you go to the forest, you could burn a lot more than trees.
I hope we've shown so far that if you want to be good at something, you have to practice.
Practice makes perfect. And the Northern Dance Company is no exception to that rule. Dance members practice at least 3 hours per day. Now, these are dance majors. Let's take a look and see them at work on a show held here last month. The NIU Dance Company is a talented group of performers with a taste for variety. Their most recent performance reflects this, with 3 different kinds of dance. Dr. Randall Newsom is one of the company's choreographers.
I reconstructed the pas de trois from Swan Lake. It's from the Act 1 of Swan Lake, and it originally was choreographed for the prince and 2 ladies of the court on the prince's coming-of-age party, just before he's expected to get married. In later productions, it's usually done by youth and 2 village girls to entertain the prince. And this is the original pas de pas choreography.
Also in the performance was a flamenco number, set to the classical rhythms of Spanish music. Dr. Jerry Tulk choreographed the modern dance piece.
It's called DIR, that's the initials DIR, and it stands for Delusions, Illusions, and Reality. And it's kind of strange, I guess. It's the one really modern piece on the program. The other things are classical ballet or Spanish, so this is a little bit further out. I think of it as being the levels of reality. So it starts off with what I see as being a kind of a music video, rock video.
Masters candidate Brett H. Hamilton was one of the dancers in the modern piece.
There's a lot of careful training and a lot of picky skills that we work on. You know, it's not just making sure the steps are right. It's also making sure, as this is a product of the theater dance department, that an effective emotion is portrayed as well.
With its accomplished combination of styles, you might say the NIU Dance Company performs some of the most amazing feats around. They sure do use a variety of music, don't they, Liz?
They do. I know I don't think of new wave when I think of dance majors, but I do think of movies when I hear the name Beth Sipula.
Ah, and here's Beth right now with a variety of movies that you can catch this weekend on campus.
Hi, I'm Beth with this week's Coming Attractions. There really isn't anything I can say about this Friday's film, E.T. the Extraterrestrial, that you haven't already heard. It's the biggest box office film of all time from producer-director Steven Spielberg. Spielberg hasn't always been popular with the critics, and he hasn't always been popular with the Motion Picture Academy, but he certainly has the attention of the ticket-buying public. If you haven't seen E.T. before, now is your chance, because I don't think this film is ever going to be available on video cassette or on cable television. Spielberg plans to re-release it every few years, just like the Walt Disney Studios does with its classics. Speaking of Disney films, this Saturday night, The Great Mouse Detective, a return to the animated features of the past, like Lady and the Tramp and 101 Dalmatians will be shown. It's the story of a mouse named Basil, who is a detective modeled on Sherlock Holmes, and his sidekick, Dr. Dawson. The characters and the voices are delightful, and there's a really catchy score by Henry Mancini. But don't think that this film is just for kids, because I think everyone has a special affection for Disney films. Short Circuit will be shown on Sunday at the Student Center. This is just another War Games rip-off film. The plot is pretty standard. It's good kids against a bad government, and we know who always wins. But I have to admit, I did enjoy the robot, number 5. He has some funny lines and steals every scene he's in. But Short Circuit really isn't worth your time because it's ultimately predictable. Thursday at 8:45 p.m. in Sandburg Auditorium, Cine Club is showing the 1983 film Suburbia. It is about some rebellious teenagers who have been accused of a murder and then are tracked down by some middle-class vigilantes. Let's take a look at Suburbia.
Over there. Yeah, they're kind of nasty. You gotta watch out for them. I heard they killed a little kid out here the other day. Where'd they come from? Well, I heard that when people were forced to move from there, that someone left their dogs behind, and coyotes came down from the hills and fucked them. After a while, wild dogs.
Don't Look Back, a cinema verite-style documentary about the life of Bob Dylan, will be shown Friday night at 7:30 p.m. in Cole 100. This film takes a look at Dylan during the height of his celebrity in the 1960s. Next week, I'll take a look at a double bill featuring this year's Academy Award winner for Best Actor, Paul Newman.
E.T. was billed as a motion picture for children of all ages.
But it seems E.T. isn't alone. Cartoons have an appeal on campus, both with the students and some faculty.
Yep, well, we all need a reason to wake up on a Saturday. Whether you like the Smurfs, Heckle and Jekyll, or are into the Muppet Babies, we wanted to know. But wouldn't you know it, this is a trick question. We brought our Paragon cameras into the Home Student Center, where we found that NIU students aren't just couch potatoes, but they take a valid interest in the aesthetics of classic television.
What's your favorite TV cartoon? Well, Kermit the Frog is my favorite TV cartoon character now that he is in a cartoon. And you would like me to imitate this cartoon character for you? Hello, my name is Kermit, and I'm green, and I love to be green, but it's so hard to be green. Where do you Okay. Hey, boo-boo. Hey, boo-boo, baby.
Well, you know how Fred is. He be tripping. I mean, you know, he like, first, you know, when he get mad at Wilma, then he get to going off and everything, and it's like,
Sounds like the call of a male Gryposaurus.
I mean, he's like, Wilma? And he just do like that.
What's up, Doc?
When you're with the Flintstones, have a yabba-dabba-do time.
Yabba-dabba-doo.
A dabba-do time, we'll have a gay old time.
Oh, I don't know. Well, I don't like Wilma too much.
Getting those answers was a lot of fun. We would like to thank all who participated for giving us those imitations. I know you felt a little silly doing them, but what the heck, it was fun, wasn't it?
We're going to say goodnight on that note, so thanks for joining us. Be with us next week when Paragon will soar with the Flying Huskies, NIU's Aviation Club.
And we'll preview all of the fun in the sun activities of Springfest.
That's it for this week. We'll see you next week.
Good night.
Good night.
Paragon was sponsored in part by Leith Furniture. Shop and compare. You'll always save at Leith Furniture.